I'm sure in school or in college, maybe, I don't know, probably around middle school area, they probably taught you about this thing called manifest destiny, right? Tried to list it as this super cool, super amazing um thing that, people went through and it helped them. I'm not sure what it really helped them do. I guess the way they could vocalize it is that it helped them kind of convince themselves that wherever they're going, they were meant to go, and whatever they were doing, they were meant to do it, and it was all by the will of God and whatever not. If I'm sure that majority of you listening probably have heard of this theory of manifest destiny and whatnot. And to be honest with you, it's a complete lie. Depending on how your teachers taught it to you. They either taught it to you one of two ways. They either told you that it was a complete sham, it was just all bullshit, and they were only teaching that shit to you to like show you what it was. That's basically about it. If they were doing anything more than that, I'm not sure. Because that's all they should have been doing was just telling you manifest destiny is bullcrap. This crap isn't actually all that good. That type of thing. But if they didn't, then I don't know, because I'm gonna assume that that's what they were supposed to teach you. But I don't know. Some teachers are different. People are different. They could have taught you that it was something good. They could have taught you it was something bad. I don't know. And that's kind of the scary part. That it kind of depends on how they taught it to you, what they told you about it. Point being made though, manifest destiny was never a good thing. It was just a bunch of colonizers who were convincing themselves that it was their God given right to go to another land that wasn't theirs, by the way. They immigrated. Keep that in mind. They immigrated, meaning that they had a place of origin and then went somewhere else. So these people who had a place of origin, a different home, a different place in which their families were originally from, and they could have been from there for hundreds of years, maybe less, maybe more, I don't know. Point is, they came from that place and they came elsewhere. They came elsewhere, and what did they do? They convinced themselves that it was their God given right to come into these lands, take these lands, and that they're a superior being. They're something greater, something better. Now, modern theology tells you that's wrong. That is not a okay type of thinking. That is not a wayward uh, thought process. It's very flawed. It's very wrong. And every human is equal. That is true. Every human is equal to a certain extent. But for whatever given reason, whether you could say maybe I'm over exaggerating, you could say maybe it's not true, whatever. Point being made is that I don't think I don't think this whole manifest destiny bullcrap ever really died out. Because thinking about it, right? What the entire idea of manifest destiny was that people would convince themselves that they are chosen people. There's something special about them, and it's just that they're given a right and it's their given destiny to go to these different lands and succeed a home and take what is others or take what they think is theirs or that and they just have all right to do so because manifest destiny says so. But think about this from a 2025 perspective, or even a little bit a few years before 2025, right? There's still a lot of people with that type of thinking. They still, but I think it's more relabeled into like a supremacy type thing, where it gets said that it's a that someone's a supremacist, like maybe a white supremacist or something like that, or whatever. But it just gets relabeled. But the point is, I feel like it's still such a malevolent thing, and it's still so widespread and still so popular that there are a significant amount of people on this planet as of right now who still go about their daily lives thinking to themselves that they are something special other than other human beings, that they deserve more than others, they deserve something better, they deserve what others can't have, and that all get, and the only thing that's saying that they get all that is because they're either convincing themselves that is their God given right, or they're just telling themselves that um they're like chosen special person. Basically, just entitlement to the max. That's all it is. It's just entitlement to the max. Nowadays, you could see that in various different things. You could see that in Zionist groups. You could see that in pro-Israeli lobbyists. You could see that in white supremacy groups. You could even see that in certain various groups of third individuals that think because of the fact that they're people of color that they are more significant than others. They're something better, something greater, so whatever. This whole idea of, you know, I'm more better than another person or another person is lesser than you because of a certain type of celestial like thought process, that doesn't make any sense. Well, realistically thinking, I don't think that the manifest destiny ever died. I think what it did was it evolved and widespread to be more, to become something that's more, that's something that was just simply relabeled and then spread out into more regions of the world and spread out into bigger groups. I feel like that's all manifest destiny became. But the entire point is the fact that there's still hundreds of thousands of people in a modern day age where the number one thing we should be focused on is equality, that there are all these people that still have a thought process like this. And there's probably gonna be some people who view this video and they don't even realize that that's them, but they probably fall under that same exact description. They think that because, maybe their skin color is a little bit different or something about them is just a little bit different, and because of that they deserve more for some strange reason. That's not the case. It's never gonna be the case. Majority of good teachings, it doesn't matter where you want to get your teachings from. It could be Buddhism, it could be Christianity, it could be Islam, something, whatever. Majority of good teachings all teach you that every man is equal under the eyes of God. Every man is equal. There no man is greater than no man, and that there's no specialty case about that. There's no I'm a chosen person or there's something special about me that you don't have or I'm a superior individual than you are. That none of that exists. That doesn't make sense. And the fact that people nowadays use it to justify crimes such as hate crimes, genocides, robberies, uh, the list can go on essentially of just different crimes, protests, Nazi groups. It's an entire ordeal of just insanity, and people kind of just sit there. They don't really do anything about it. They don't speak up against it. They don't say anything against it, and it confuses me because like you can see that it doesn't even confuse me why people don't say it. What confuses me is how do you end up in a position where you think that that's correct, where you think that, where you think to yourself that you're something better, you're something special because of skin color. That doesn't make sense. You know, can't it I don't even know what to say. Something it's just an unbelievable thought process that makes you think. How can you end up in a situation like that? And to be frank, it kind of comes down to that to the beginning of this, where it's kind of just the way the schools teach it, the way they get brought up as children, a variety amount of things. Because schools will teach you that manifestation is a good thing. So then you're gonna grow up thinking that, oh yeah, these white people who told themselves that they were special and good people, I'm white as well, or I'm this color, or I'm that color, and I believe the same thing because these people got to believe it, so that means I should believe it too, or something like that. And then you end up having these people who just have this thought process because school taught them, or maybe they grew up in a household where their parents were severely racist towards other people, and they grew up around that racism and unknowingly picked it up and started following it and just never thought about it twice. I've met more than enough people who were underminingly racist and had no idea. And what I mean by that is that they were racist. They I'm sure they were aware of it, but it's more about the fact that they they um they were racist. You could see it in their eyes that they were kind of um what's it called? You could see that they were racist and such a prevailing idea of just no matter how or where they got the idea from, or why they managed to be exposed to it, they still follow it because of that strange reason. In my opinion, in my humble opinion, I think that a majority of ideas like that that tell a person that they're better or tell a person that they deserve more or try and convince other people that they're something lesser than somebody else because of whatever. I feel like those ideas need to get destroyed completely. Those ideas need to be exterminated completely. There's a there's a book called Fahrenheit 451. In this book, it's a world where knowledge is a forsaken thing, and by that I mean I don't know if some people may have read it in class or whatever, but that's where I read it. But essentially, it's a world where books are burnt, stolen, taken away, and destroyed completely because the knowledge that they carry and the things that they bring to people, they don't want people to have access to that knowledge. They don't want people to be able to read for themselves, think for themselves, and be creative anymore and do those type of things. Books are a very sacred thing because they allow for the imagination to thrive. In a society where books aren't a thing, that they're basically trying to capture that. And I feel like if we lived in a society where we did a very similar thing to that, except of exterminating books and trying to make people dumber, we exterminated bad ideas, such as you're better than somebody else because of your skin color. Because look at America nowadays. People are blatant fascists. People are blatant racists. People are just outwardly going insane over I don't even know what, and they'll be so public about it. They'll publicly go and tell other people that they're a fascist, that they're a racist, scream racist hate comments, commit crimes because of it. It doesn't even matter the skin color, by the way. They could be a black person, they could be a white person. The behavior is all the same. The behavior is there is no difference in it. It happens among everyone, and it's one of those things where it concerns me about the future of a country like the United States to see that people, instead of moving towards a better state and harmonizing with each other and being understanding with each other and taking part in civilized argumentation, are instead going to the extent of genuine racism, Nazism, fascism, and convincing themselves of 100,000 different bad ideas that they just want to say is true. The extremes of two sides are very different. That's the one thing that I think a lot of people don't want to admit.